So first of all, thank you so much for joining and taking time to join us for this webinar session. We put this together to discuss a few challenges and projects that we've been working as a company within HE and FE. So typically, managing radius solution in a demanding Wi-Fi environment is what we will be discussing, and the agenda itself will be discussed today. So the agenda, looking into a quick introduction on who KHIPU are, real-life common radius challenges which FE and HE institutions are facing, and how we could simplify Wi-Fi service management. And also we'll have a 5-click demo which talks about how eduroam services could be configured and how it is simple to troubleshoot and failed authentication. We'll talk about some benefits and also go through next stages. So about KHIPU, for those who don't know KHIPU, we are an international cybersecurity company. We were formed in 2005 for a specific need within HE who were looking to enable bring your own device in 2005 and years before. Typically, students were bringing in so many devices and plugging them in to your halls of residence, and it created a lot of trouble for the network and the IT team to get these devices registered without any antivirus, anti-spyware. It created a lot of trouble for institutions. So typically, that's where we brought over a solution called KHIPU-NETWORKS from the States and implemented that NAC solution to automate self-registration for BYOD. We are a privately owned company. We focus typically on key areas like access, visibility, and control over your network. And we have offices in UK, South Africa, and cover internationally as well. The total outstanding customer service is our ethos. We always stand for the highest standards of accreditations, including ISO certifications. We do high accreditations with our engineers and also provide service delivery, project management, and training when it comes to the solutions that we provide. We offer 24/7 proactive support services and also managed services, which was acknowledged and recognized by Gartner in their report in 2014. As a company and a business, we've been growing profitably, and with customer retention being our primary focus. We've been growing 18, 22, and 20% on a regular basis, and we have over 500 large customers in over 17 countries. So to talk about what KHIPU on a nutshell does, this is what we do as a company. So as I mentioned, we focus on 3 key areas: access, visibility, and control. You can see DNS, DHCP, your fixed networking, your switch environment, and Wi-Fi environment providing the access level on your network. Then you've got visibility, which talks about who's joined the network, what devices are on, and what type of network performance is currently running on the network, so that you gain visibility. Once you gain visibility, then you have control by solutions involving network access control. You have solutions around next generation firewalls like Palo Alto, which enable you to have more control over the network. And with all these solutions, we do provide proactive monitoring and alerting, which is giving you 24/7 support services. And also we provide managed services when it comes to Wi-Fi, firewalling, and other aspects on your network, making sure that we could have a full service offering that could be beneficial for the end user. As I mentioned, our highest accreditations when it comes to manufacturers, we are platinum partners with most of the manufacturers that we deal with. As you can see, we have engineers for Aruba and Palo Alto who are all accredited to the highest level, as you can see. And what we offer is full commitment and training when it comes to deploying the solution, and also 24/7 support services. And we have close to 99% customer retention, who can be a reference site for many of our prospects and customers. So certainly when it comes to Aruba or any other solutions that you are interested to discuss, then we'll be more than happy to introduce you to our customers within HE or FE who will be able to allow you to explore their existing environment and projects that KHIPU have completed. So typically, when we are talking about the common challenges that we wanted to discuss today within FE and HE, this is what we are seeing. There's a large demand on Wi-Fi, which is putting a major strain on your backbone of your Wi-Fi, which is your radius server. And people tend to have, some understanding on how to resolve this challenge, and that's where we come in and, help you to understand that the backbone or the radius server needs to be more self-sufficient, strongly built, making sure that when you're expanding your mobility, it can cope with all the demands of mobility and Wi-Fi. So typically, you're seeing staff and expertise being used heavily when it comes to installing, deploying, and managing and supporting a free radius server. So typically, you have to have a team or a single person building a free radius server or building an eduroam server or the free radius. And also the Microsoft NPS, which is essential where HE has been developing and designing these Microsoft NPS server. In terms of events when things are affecting issues being felt, and it's very difficult to identify service affecting issues. So typically Wi-Fi then is dealt with the network team, and the radius is often handled by the systems team. So there's a bit of a communication gap between both the teams, and it's very hard to then identify issues around Wi-Fi and radius. So typically it's very difficult to design and scale when it comes to predictive Wi-Fi usage, because the demands for mobility is increasing day by day, and it's expensive, and dedicating resource to build Windows, Linux servers, and typically a new server takes a lot of time and effort. When it comes to patching, upgrading, and risk vulnerabilities, it's very, very difficult to go through the tools and see exactly where the risk and the sort of issues are lying in terms of Wi-Fi device getting connected within the radius performance and the radius server. In terms of other issues that we've seen within FE and HE, troubleshooting is one of the major constraints that people put their hand up and say, yes, we have issues around troubleshooting. When somebody fails authentication, it's very, very difficult to identify if it's a problem with the radius, or if it's a problem with the network, or is it a problem with the laptop. So it's really, really difficult to the IT staff to then have a central management system to identify any kind of failed authentication. So that's what we want to discuss, and also have a third-party expertise that will be giving you the ability to manage and maintain this radius server. So another common challenge that we would like to discuss and see is the lack of visibility and reporting, especially around eduroam services and other Wi-Fi services. What devices are connecting, how many times they've connected, whether they've failed authentication, how they failed authentication, why have they failed authentication, and all those scenarios needs to be addressed to make sure that Wi-Fi is, being applied and allowed for end users to have a good experience within the environment. You're looking at separate policies, SSIDs, and you're building more SSIDs on your Wi-Fi network to provide access level for different management institutions and management staff within your existing institution. So you're talking about automatic access being allowed to guests, DVOD, and also things like your Apple TV, which is a challenge. So you're building more and more SSIDs where you're typically looking to consolidate SSIDs with your eduroam services and etc. And you're looking at Radius eduroam expert who could then take the challenge away and work on your side to build the Radius regardless of the wired or wireless network that you have, and provide third-party support for the services that you offer. So if you're talking about any additional service, consolidating SSIDs and also helping you with any failed authentication, we could then step in and help you out with the configuration and the failed authentication when it comes to support services. You're talking about a experience that you're providing when visiting students, staff, and professors come in. You're talking about the institution providing access to those end users via services like eduroam or guest. You need to make sure that the end user experience is on high levels, making sure that they can easily authenticate, get on the network, and get with their work straight away. So largely, when you're talking about Wi-Fi versus small radius investment, that's where the problem lies when it comes to coverage and people authenticating on your network. You're also looking at visiting eduroam professors, talking about, say, their user experience when they visited a university and say, yes, I went into this university or college, they have these services, but I can't get into those services. So you're typically talking about your Wi-Fi being your reputation. So 100% we want to enhance that user experience and make sure that any institution, having issues around Wi-Fi will be able to resolve these challenges around radius and connectivity. So quickly, I would like to have a quick poll on the webinar itself. So I have a few poll questions that I'd like to ask the audience so that we can have some answers on what their challenges are and how they're finding it with their Wi-Fi experience. So to start off with, I have put up a poll question now. I'm hoping that you guys can see the poll question. There we go. I'm putting up that poll question. Yeah, I could see many of you respond. Okay, so I've got close to 70% of you answer yes for the poll question. So that's a good number for the poll question itself. So thank you very much for the answers back. And we'll jump on to the next slide quickly. So when it comes to simplifying all-in-one radius that we are looking to help you with, we're talking about an environment that would be suitable for any flavors. It has your hardware and VMware appliance. It talks about a proactive support management and automatic firmware upgrade. We also have eduroam configured easily within the appliance, and also have rich guest, which can be talking about self-registration, and you could add BYOD for your onboarding for corporate users on your network. We're also talking about health and reporting of the entire Wi-Fi system, and also automatic security policies being applied. So you're talking about a convincing, strong backbone to your existing Wi-Fi model that's been integrated within the KHIPU services and the Aruba ClearPass Policy Manager that we offer. So we quickly go into the demo now, and once the demo is over, I'll pop in a few more full questions for you guys to answer. The demo itself will be done by Anna, who's our senior technical consultant, and he's got excellent experience within Aruba and deploying the ClearPass solution. So Anna, I hand it over to you.
Yep. Thank you, Mike. So there's just a screenshot from the Janet's website, so you can see how complex or complicated it looks when you look at configuring eduroam. You basically have a requirement for a radius server which will authenticate the user onto the network, but it also needs to proxy radius requests going out and respond in time so that your users can quickly get onto the network. So I'm going to switch over to the actual configuration pages in the ClearPass appliance and show you how easy it is to configure this mess that it appears to be, but it's not. Okay, so we have logged into our ClearPass appliance, and I'm just going to show you how easy it is to configure eduroam on the ClearPass server. So you have a pre-built set of templates that's available out of the box for eduroam, and we just need to click Start here and select eduroam. So if I'm saying I just want to give it some kind of a name to service and click Next. You define the domains that are related to your institution. So for example, you could be or whatever domain name you use for your local authentications. In this case, we'll leave as it is. Click Next. Select your source of authentication for your local users. This could be your Active Directory, Novell eDirectory, whatever you use for your backend. Then click Next. Select your wireless controllers that you would like to use the eduroam service against. And next is where we define the Janet's national proxy radius servers. So this is where we will forward the requests for people who are visiting your institution. And once you've done all the steps, i.e. the 5 steps that we just completed, you just hit Update Service, and that will do all the configuration. And that is all you need to do to configure eduroam. And following that, it will just work, as long as you have the wireless controller pointing to ClearPass server for radius authentication. So that is how easy it is to configure the eduroam services within ClearPass. Now, if we look at the troubleshooting side of this, I'm just going to quickly show you. We have a tool called Access Tracker built into ClearPass. Having worked with other radius solutions in the past, whether it's FreeRadius or Microsoft NPS, for every single authentication request, you get an awful lot of information, which is very difficult to collate. And, so troubleshooting in those scenarios can be pretty daunting for an administrator, unless you're very good with Linux tools and start prepping for various patterns and stuff. So coming back to troubleshooting side, on the ClearPass server, it's as easy as clicking on a link and searching for stuff. So in this case, I will search for myself. So we can see. And you can see my authentication attempts. And so if I click on that, it immediately gives me my device MAC address, what kind of a device I'm trying to authenticate from, whether I'm hitting the right authentication sources, etc. I then click on the input tab, this is where what the user is putting in to the system. So if, for example, I put in my username correctly, but my password was wrong, I would get an alerts tab in here, and you would be able to see why the user has failed authentications. You can also see various authorization attributes for that particular user. So coming back to a point that you might raise during the webinar or the slides, is that the flexibility within ClearPass to be able to push policies to the actual NAS, i.e. the wireless controllers in this situation. So we are seeing this more commonly within our, we tend to push our customers to reduce the number of SSIDs as much as possible. I know a lot of institutions have separate eduroam and staff SSIDs, which can really be simplified with ClearPass, because most NAS vendors, whether it's Cisco, Aruba, Trapeze, or Meru, or whoever you want you use, support some kind of radius-based policies. And within ClearPass, you can configure what the response or the direction that the controller takes following the authentication. So this way, we can automatically use eduroam as your single point of authentication. So your staff and students could all be connecting to eduroam and still maintain the separation of access that you would like to have. So as you can see, it immediately shows me my device host name, my operating system that I'm using, anything else that it profiles about the device. It shows me all the groups that I'm part of in Active Directory. Pulls out all my details. So anybody who's troubleshooting this, it's really easy for them. You can even delegate this portion of the GUI, so they don't have access to the entire ClearPass server, but only to the access tracker, so that they can easily troubleshoot this. So you can end up delegating to your first line or help desk, so they can look at it. Then in the output section is what is sent back to the controller. In this case, we are sending an Aruba user role to the controller, because we are using an Aruba controller for authenticating this user. So that's how easy it is to troubleshoot things within ClearPass. In this instance, you can see that there's a timeout where my authentication has failed because my device either moved away or I didn't finish authentication. Okay. So if I click on the alerts tab, immediately it says client did not complete each transaction, which means I walked off before I could actually connect to the Wi-Fi. Okay. So if somebody is complaining from a user's perspective that I couldn't connect, and you would like to check and go back in time and see what happened, you could easily do that just by typing a partial username or the MAC address of the device. If you know any details about the user, you can trace it through ClearPass. This also supports historical reporting. So we have something called Insight, which keeps track of all authentication sessions and how much data they've been transmitting. We could do all sorts of policies. So you can see there's an accounting tab within here, which shows you any active devices that are connected onto the network. And if they are connected, then it will show you how much data they've been transmitting. And if you want, you could also enforce some bandwidth restrictions. I know typically eduroam, you are not supposed to restrict any access. That's all about visibility and reporting within ClearPass.
So typically you would be able to report on every single activity on a particular SSID. So saying, example, eduroam as an SSID, you'll be able to do full reporting on user activity, authentication, how many people have joined and what type of devices have joined, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. So we have got full-fledged device profiling, so we can see what kind of devices are coming to our network. So if I click at, you can see how many devices are connecting. You can create custom filters on a particular day. As you can see, it's not a very busy system, so we only see a couple of authentications and then for our demos. and you can then see what is the rate of authentication, i.e. people coming in, going your network, out of your network. The other aspects of ClearPass is obviously high availability. So this supports full HA, so you can have clustered nodes within that. If I go back to our dashboard, you can see it gives you a cluster status. So you can say you can have more than one ClearPass server connecting in your cluster, so that if you want to expand in future in terms of growth, you can easily add more nodes into the cluster. You don't have to configure additional services or anything. You can just keep building this as you go. Also, this allows you to provide high availability radio services through VRRP or layer 3 failover between the nodes and things like that. It also allows you to centrally upgrade all your ClearPass nodes if you need to. So that again, coming and looking at pass radius solutions, whether it's FreeRadius or Microsoft NPS, upgrading a Windows or Linux box and upgrading various FreeRadius versions within that can be pretty challenging, and more than often it breaks things when you upgrade things. So this is something which is really useful in terms of ClearPass, where you can upgrade solutions without breaking things. And you have obviously got Urubas and KHIPU support behind that.
Fantastic. Okay.
At this point, I would like to hand this back to Matt.
Thank you so much, Arnab. Hopefully, Arnab's shown how things work and how easily things could be troubleshooted when it comes to the services around Wi-Fi and the eduroam services. Quickly, I would like to ask another poll question to the audience. So the poll question, I've put that up on your screen. So hopefully you should be able to see that at the moment and typically answer that poll question as well. Wow, fantastic, great results. So we've got, again, over 60% saying yes, they are allowing eduroam services, and close to 40% saying yes, they aren't using the eduroam services at the moment. Another quick poll question that I would like to pose to the audience is on your screen at the moment. How many of you are looking to deploy eduroam services for September 2015? Okay, we've got close to 30% coming back to us, 25 to 30% coming back to us with the answer yes. So we would like to discuss that further. Thank you so much for participating on those poll questions. And we've also had a few questions come back from the audience. So we'll go through the solution benefits and answer any more questions that you have in mind. And typically, if you have any questions around the GUI that Arnab had shown you, we could again go back and discuss that once we've gone through the benefits of the solution. So quickly to run through what the solution benefits are when it comes to the ClearPass Policy Manager, it's talking about consolidating and managing your Wi-Fi environment in a very efficient way. Typically, consolidating your SSIDs into single eduroam SSID for authentication of your internal and external users with their multiple devices on the network. We're not talking about less interference, faster speeds when it comes to Wi-Fi and quality of service, and reducing the amount of support calls. As Arnab showed, if somebody fails authentication, you could literally type the username password to then provide support and understand how you could easily resolve those support queries that are coming in terms of authentication failures. When you're talking about automatic device and user profiling and allowing user policies to be applied, you're talking about differentiating access between students, staff, and external users. You're also giving them the ability to have a very rich guest experience when it comes to your guest users self-registering their user devices onto the network. We're also talking about third-party integration, which is very important and crucial. I think Arnab could touch upon this point because the ClearPass Policy Manager and the Aruba ClearPass solution can be integrated with your existing security parameter platforms like Palo Alto Networks, Checkpoints, Fortinet, and others. So, Arnab, if you could come in.
On the user ID side, I mean, we have full integration with Fortinet, Palo Alto, and Checkpoint. So what happens is, as the user comes onto the network, all their relevant firewall policies are automatically applied on the firewall as they join the SSID. So what happens is, as the user connects to the ClearPass managed SSID, the user ID information is pushed to the firewall via the API or radius accounting, whichever method you would like to implement. And at that point, the firewall knows who the user is already before they are joining. And at that point, they can put ACLs or firewall rules which map to that particular user. So immediately controlling their access and giving you visibility on the firewall itself in terms of the user's interaction with the network. So you have full visibility where they're going on the network, and you can see for every session what websites have been accessing, things like that. So for tracking or security reasons, you can always refer back very easily.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And as you can see, the solution itself is vendor agnostic. So you're talking about any Wi-Fi or wired manufacturer used on your environment that the ClearPass solution could be overlaid as a policy manager and a radius server. So it doesn't have to be a particular vendor or a particular manufacturer. And it's got inbuilt troubleshooting that Arnab showed you a short while ago. And in terms of easy web interface and going through the GUI, it's very, very simple to configure and manage your Wi-Fi environment. And typically, you're laying down a strong backbone as a radius server with the ClearPass Policy Manager, which is easy to expand, scale up, and also very resilient when it comes to the Wi-Fi management and your solution that currently supports your existing mobility environment on your institution. Other key factors that we see as a benefit is the visibility on your eduroam environment. As Arnab mentioned, you could report on the performance, the usage, and issues around troubleshooting. You can see how many devices have failed authentication, how many have passed, what type of devices have joined in, and typically what time of the year or what time of the week. It is very busy when it comes to devices getting connected onto the network. And the easy overlay of guest and BYOD is built in. So once you have the Radius ClearPass platform, you can then add rich guest experience on. Excuse me. So you'll be looking at a rich guest experience and BYOD platform. And you're also talking about a up-to-date Wi-Fi device type that could manage any kind of vulnerabilities when it comes to automatic firmware updates. So it's all built in within your ClearPass Policy Manager. And you're talking about a single one-stop shop when it comes to managing, supporting, and maintaining the existing Wi-Fi environment, and talking about putting a strong backbone as a radius environment onto your services like eduroam and guest. So when it comes to education, we worked out a special framework within Aruba to talk about student return times, making sure that, you know, if you have services that needs to be updated, you need more resilience on your Wi-Fi environment, we'd be able to assist you and put a price model in which would be more efficient and easy to manage when it comes to your mobility requirements on the network. So that's all we've got at the moment when it comes to, you know, giving you a quick introduction into the management of Radius and Wi-Fi environment. And I have a few questions from our audiences so that we could answer them before we finish this session. So questions itself, you're talking about, so one of the attendees have asked a question saying, do you have full visibility of failed authentication attempts and the cause of the failure? So that's one of the questions that's been posed. I think
So yeah, as you saw when I looked at my failed authentication, that value is there in the system for you to look at anytime you want. That log doesn't disappear anywhere. It is there for you to look at. So if the authentication fails, you just click on the link and you can just have a look why it failed.
Good, thank you. And next question: how do you delegate troubleshooting of authentication issues to your support desk?
Yeah, this is something that I think briefly touched during the demo. We can delegate access to portions of the GUI on the ClearPass server. So you can give them access to the access tracker itself, and and then they can have visibility into what's working and what's not working.
Okay, fantastic. We've got another question.
Yeah, somebody asked whether we can add multiple domains for your site. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most institutes that we work have more than one domain, which is obvious for Radius authentication. So you can simply either put a comma-separated list of domains that you would like to put in that wizard, or you could create separate services for them, depending how you want to do it. Yeah. It's very flexible. It's an unbelievably flexible system when it comes to configurations. You can do a lot of things.
Thank you. Yeah. Another question: what if you're not using Aruba but another Wi-Fi solution?
As I said, it's as agnostic, vendor agnostic as it could be. I mean, we are talking about standard radius here. It's not anything specific Aruba has designed or something like that. We can respond with policies for Cisco, Meru, whatever you've got. It will work. As long as the NAS device supports Radius authentication, we can work with it.
Thank you. So another question. Is it recommended to place the ClearPass product in DMZ initially and often open the firewall from inside to outside from the Radius proxy request?
You can do it in many ways. This is, again, I would say a more design question than the product itself. So you can definitely put it in DMZ if you want, because obviously when you're looking at proxying Radius request, it needs to go out and hit the Janet's web national proxies. So you can put it in the DMZ, and then that also allows you to easily provide guest services.
So that's a Bradford customer who's asked a question. Will ClearPass Radius work with Bradford Campus Manager? Is it advisable? Does Bradford does not offer Radius?
You can absolutely use ClearPass with BKM. There's no problem with that because it is a Radius server at the end of the day. The Bradford Radius solution is, I think, very limited, and I think the scope of that solution, Radius solution, is not to provide AAA services to our entire network. It is meant for very limited applications, whereas the ClearPass is a full AAA platform, which is going to give you full authentication, authorization, access, control on your network. So, yeah.
Thank you. Is it possible to log into the guest portal self-registration using social media?
Absolutely.
Facebook, etc., etc.
It's there in the product right now. You can use LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, whatever you wish to, and you can use that for self-registration and going through. Absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Next question. So does ClearPass fully integrate with Cisco firewalls?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it relies on standards as long as the vendors are not doing anything. Because it's an open solution, you can add any kind of customization if you want. We have an open XML API built into ClearPass. Wherein we can easily configure any sort of custom integration that if we require. That's not there, we can always build it. So this gives you a platform to easily add anything you wish to.
Yeah. There's a attendee asking if this presentation would be made available. 100%, we will make this available for all audiences as a recorded version. So yes, the option it will be available. Another question, does the solution integrate with Cisco ISC? Which I think...
yeah, it will. Again, it's a radius server, so anything that's requesting or sending radius packets to us, they will absolutely work with that, no problem whatsoever. Cisco ISC has its own inbuilt radius solution, I am aware of it, but you can use ClearPass with it, absolutely no problems.
Fantastic. And another question, are logs stored on the box, off box, or both? How safe on the box?
So this is again your requirement. So it can be customized. The box will allow you to syslog it off to an external syslog server if you wish to retain it. It will also host the logs on its own database for a limited number of days or months, depending on what you want to choose. The disk allocation is self-managed, i.e. the VM comes with a specific specification, and so does the hardware. So depending on the model you choose, that is how it will automatically manage the logs for you.
And one final question, does ClearPass Policy Manager support device onboarding out of the box, or is there another service that needs to be added?
So it is, onboarding is built into it. So there is the ClearPass onboard solution, which is built into the Policy Manager, where we can automatically provision a device, whether it's iOS, Android, Windows, and automatically configure it for .1x. So when it joins your network, it's already configured with the required settings for it to .1x.
Okay, cool. And another question just came in. What does ClearPass do that Cisco ISC does not?
So it's kind of a trick question, I would say, because they are competing products, and you have, in terms of functionality, if you look at it, they are head-to-head in terms of what they can do. I think ClearPass is better in terms of providing you visibility and reporting, and it's more flexible, a lot more vendor agnostic than Cisco ISC is. Cisco ISC is aimed at Cisco products, where this is meant for everyone to be used.
Okay. Another question, can we retrospectively bring back log stores of box for viewing in the device GUI?
Yes. So you can bring back logs. So the logs itself are tarred up and stored on the server itself, or you can push that tar file to another server, and then you can restore those tar files depending. They are dated, so if you want to go back and look at those logs, you can restore them.
Okay. Another quick question about integration of the ClearPass solution and Aruba with the WatchGuard firewall solution.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from using a WatchGuard firewall if you use a different wireless. I mean, the interaction between the wireless and all this should be all standard based, so there shouldn't be any problems really.
Okay. Right. Fantastic. Any more questions to the audience? Any more questions? Okay. So hopefully the session was helpful to you guys. Thank you so much for attending the session. I'm hoping that it's addressed all the typical challenges that you are currently facing when it comes to managing and maintaining your Wi-Fi environment. And also, the demands are growing when it comes to more and more mobility of end users bringing various devices onto the network. I believe it's been useful to the audience, and when it comes to services around Wi-Fi and building a strong backbone with the inbuilt Radius server and having third-party support will essentially help you have a more stronger mobility platform and provide Wi-Fi services as it should be provided for end users as the demands are growing every day. So hopefully we make this presentation available shortly for the audience and for everyone to share and see. And also, if you have any other questions, you can email me the questions directly to me, at KHIPU-NETWORKS.com, and I'll be able to assist you as well. I'll do a quick follow-up to this session so that we could discuss on frameworks and the discounts that are available for the KPAS solution, so that if you're looking at deploying eduroam services in September, certainly we would try and help you out with the deployments. So thank you so much once again for all the attendees who've joined in and taken time today for joining this webinar. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you.